Everyone, I've been practicing Kung Fu for nearly 30 years, internal Kung Fu in particular, some external systems too. And I've had extensive studying for 20 years for Western bodywork, including university study on that subject as well. So this is about key things that I teach in my courses that I learned to overcome injuries that I created through my own training, through not knowing. It's the thing about injuries, they always teach you things, and it's information. If you had before, you probably wouldn't have got injured, but the injury is there to teach you some things. And for me, it was a lot about biomechanical issues, and also taking me to certain people who were really influential in my development and understanding the body and in healing too. So number one, the tripod foot. Be really aware of the tripod foot. If you don't have weight going the tripod foot properly, it influences how your hips work. The pressure that goes in your knee, does pressure go in your knee or does it go through the knee? Pressure should go through the knee, not get stuck in it. The knee is a weight transfer joint, not a weight bearing joint. The shin should be able to internally rotate. So if you can't bend your knee very properly, like you can't sink your hips very low in practice, there's quite a lot of things involved with that. Number one is that your hips can't internally rotate properly. And that can be to do with the lack of understanding of the tripod foot. It can be that the tibia doesn't rotate internally, so it doesn't rotate inwards when you move. And most people, for their right shin, it's always externally rotated, so it doesn't do internal rotation very easily. This can all be changed through training, specific biomechanical training too. More of a Western kind of way of doing it, then you integrate it into your martial arts training. Pronation of the heel, so the heel should roll forward when you put weight through it. Pressure staying mainly in the midfoot. There's a lot of foot stuff started. Okay, so if you don't understand the tripod foot and where weight should be in your feet, you can get knee injuries, hip problems, overloads of your lower back. Never can relax the shoulders or the neck properly too. So the heel rolls forward as part of pronation. So the knee internally, the shin internally rotates as you bend your knee. The heel rolls forward as part of the pronation of the foot, so the arch of the foot dropping. That's all normal, and it should happen when bending the knee, like going lower in the stance, all that sort of stuff. And we do our movements without losing the tripod of the foot. No matter what you do, don't lose the tripod of the foot, especially on one leg, especially sinking low, especially sinking into pubble, empty step, all those kind of things. The weight will change in the tripod too, so it'll go to the outer edge, then around the toes, around the inner edge, the heel, so it can circle. You feel the pressure change, but I'm not losing contact of the 3 points in the foot. I don't lose that contact at all, but I feel pressure change happen in it, because it helps create rotational force, especially when you're doing elbows, releasing power in different directions and things like that. The hip needs to be able to internally rotate. The internal rotation of the hip is largely related with how anteriorly or posteriorly tilted your pelvis is, and in internal Kung Fu it needs to be posteriorly tilted to make your power. It also needs to be very free to move in the sacrum and the tailbone. There's exercises to make sure you can circle your tailbone, even you can circle the pelvis, the lumbopelvic, so from the Mingmen Dantian level, that can all rotate and circle like spherical motion. This is really important to do when you're in the middle of movements, especially in Tai Chi. So the Mingmen out means you tuck the pelvis under a little bit. The Mingmen pushes back a little bit, so that the lumbar spine pushes back, becomes straighter. Sometimes go into more of a flex state. That's okay to do, just not when you're lifting big objects, by the way. The rib cage, the ribs should come down, so you're not totally always like in an inhale position. That'll make your shoulders tighter. If you have shoulders that are always stiff, especially don't have very much internal rotation going this way, your body's in an externally rotated position, which is where the rib cage is always in a breath in and never can properly breathe out. So you need specific training to do that, and you'll probably always have tightness in the rhomboids, between the shoulder blades, always a tight neck, maybe a really tight jaw, always, and not know why. Tight lower back, always tight calves, tight hamstrings, no matter how much you stretch them. It's all linked, that kind of stuff. The shoulders need to be able to round, so this can relax here. We don't want tense, we're not tensing the pecs like a bodybuilder. We want to be able to relax those so the shoulders nest becomes indented, which allows the Surupe, I think that's how you say it, Surupe effect. So look that up on Google. what the Swerpe effect is. SERRUPE. Look up that effect. That's how hammer throwers throw the hammer. It's how the body links itself through the torso and the pelvis for rotational power. How the ribs sit is instrumental for how you absorb and project power. How your neck, the position of your head, if it's not correct, you'll vibrate your head, you'll get headaches, neck problems. You need to be able to relax here and simultaneously have stability here. So when you're doing movements, head's not going all over the place. There needs to be a little bit of a chin tuck so the deep neck flexors are activating. Tongue in the roof of the mouth. There's 19 muscles in supporting the front of the neck here. The 19th one is the tongue. So the tongue in the roof of the mouth serves as an electrical channel, like a switch for those the front and back main meridians, but also a stabilization point for here. And the tongue's linked to all the internal organs as well. So that's not everything, it's just some things, okay? So they're really important in your training. So there's all these things that are in all of my courses because they're so important, and the clarity of how they're meant to move, that's a big part of what I teach in my course. Because in the end, when you're practicing martial arts, you want to do it over and over. You do it over and over until you can't get it wrong. The thing is, if you're not clear about what you're doing over and over, you can be creating a poor biomechanics, something that can overload joints later, cause issues, and you're just doing it over and over. So the intent is good, but the biomechanics are poor. So you're getting poor output, injuries, really tense nervous system, all sorts of stuff. So the idea is that you're making the motor program, the biomechanics of the movement, as good as you can, clear with the teacher, clear accuracy of movement. This part goes with that, that goes with that. Everything unite, and then practice over and over and over until you really build the foundation. It's like you're letting density sink into your body, and and your Kung Fu becomes a part of who you are. It's a long clip, but it's nowhere near the end of all those biomechanics, by the way, but they're in my courses.